All right, everybody, it's Adam and Mike with Just the Tips, coming to you remotely from the Accord location and the Saugerties location, the worldwide headquarters, hubs of Just the Tips.
All right, dude, episode 30. How you feeling?
Wow, 30, the big 3-0. Good for us.
Yeah, man. We haven't missed a week except that 1 week you were gone, right?
That's it. Well, now that we figured out how to do the virtual cast, this works out pretty good for us because today you had baseball all day. How'd the girls do?
Yeah, softball, pretty good. I don't know. What seed did we get?
No, we don't know yet.
Oh, they don't know the seeds yet, but they did pretty good. And actually, Riley crushed it, and she got a little medal today too, so it was cool.
Really? Medal for a softball? That I'm not familiar with. What'd you get it for?
So during the first day of a tournament, they do MVOs, which is a most valuable opponent, and the other coach picks a kid on the team. So she actually hit a bomb in the right field today, so it was pretty good.
Nice.
I just wanted her to plow over the first baseman who was standing in her way, but she's like my size.
The first baseman's your size? There you go.
Yeah.
She drove her. She's 9. She drove herself to the game. She had to find a sitter. Yeah, I get you.
She's got a neck tattoo.
Some big girls playing the coach pitch softball. I hear you.
Yep.
Cool, man.
So
good for her.
Yeah. So we're doing this remotely because you played today, right? Did you play?
I did. Yeah. Tore it up. I'll tell you, here's the thing about, and you and I said it both, about playing championship amateur golf, is that it makes regular golf feel really easy. I shot 75 today, and I was like, that's stupid. I'm like, it should have been 68. It was like the worst 75 anybody ever shot in their life. It was so disappointing.
Well, that's why I want you to start playing in these like higher up tournaments, too, because it's going to make the Herdegen feel easy.
Well, and it only can be that way for real. And by the way, I was telling Jamie today, I go maximum results in 100% full effect. Today, I needed a birdie going into 18 to win our match. Driver 9-iron into the wind. Made the 10-footer birdie, no problem.
Nice.
So this time last year, driver 5-iron, driver 6-iron, sometimes driver 4-wood. Now driver short iron. Yeah. It's not only the drivers going farther and the irons are going farther, but you put the two of those together and that's a 420-yard par 4, and I hit a little, I had to actually choke down on the 9-iron so it didn't go too far.
I mean, don't mind that torrential storm that was coming in out of the north. Don't worry about that.
Actually, we got very lucky today. It didn't rain at all, but. What I have, 3 birdies today. I birdied 2, 12, and 18, and
nice,
no doubles. Yeah, but I had a couple of stupid bogeys that I wish I had back. But see, it'll be the theme of the show today as we talk about the Ulster County Men's Championship. We talk about etiquette, which seems to be all of a sudden our niche.
Dude, we really need to touch base on this. I think we can talk about it every single episode because the comments that we're getting. I got something pulled up on my computer here because I'm just pumped to talk about this, dude.
The only problem is that I played with Brian Lindhorst today, Big Horse, right?
Yeah.
The only guy. Oh, by the way, the only guy on the course bigger than you, and you drew him in the first round of the season-long match play.
Yep,
that's like two Titans battling it out. But he did say to me, and this is how I know it's catching on. He says, I'm out with the etiquette police today. He goes, don't get. I go, we're not the etiquette police, but it seems like the in a big time world that has all kinds of golf stuff, anything about fixing your slice or hock-toing somebody or whatever, there seems to be a nice niche for us with etiquette. Which again, where does hock-tune stand on our etiquette?
1.3 million views, by the way, so it can stand wherever it wants.
So middle of last week, Mike puts together a clip of me hitting an iron and backs it up with the internet sensation that is the Hock2 girl. And is that our all-time biggest hit?
By far,
we have one that went 2 million? By far.
We had one that did like $500,000. I think it was like 526, and this one blew it out of the water, dude.
Yeah, almost triple.
Yeah. And I wasn't even going to post it. I made it. I showed it to DeGasperis, and his immediate reaction was he cracked up. So I'm like, dude, I got to post this. I posted it right then, actually, at like 5:40 in the morning.
Yep.
And it just killed it.
And it just kept going and going and going. So congratulations to you. And again, your editing has gotten like to another bizarre, awesome level. Whether it's the podcast or stuff. Well, the one that is soon to come out of you times 4, I thought was like, uh-oh. I'm like, what is this guy doing
I shot
now?
that.
Holy cow.
I actually shot that on the junior senior day when we were done 6 hours before you. It started at the same time.
Well, by the way, 3.5 hours today we played. We walked 18 with 3 of us.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. We were 5 holes ahead of the group in front of us. Yep. We were first out.
Nice.
So,
all right, so let's get to Herdegen, dude.
All right. So Ulster County Men's Championship. In my head, the major of the majors. From the time I was a little kid, this lets you know what kind of golfer you are. You get a county ranking. You play the best of the best in the county. Nobody takes this tournament off. 3 days, 3 different courses, qualifier to get in. Yes, it's only our little Ulster County, but at the same time, it's as big of a deal as you want to make it. And the vast majority of us make this a big, big deal. So I have a distinct advantage, and that's the fact that you take 3 days out of your life to come caddy this thing for me. So first and foremost, thank you very much. Like I said, I really couldn't, even be in the same ballpark without you, man.
Well, I appreciate that, dude. It's my pleasure. That's why, I want to do it. I'm excited to do it.
Man. Well, like I said, we make a good team out there, and I think my favorite line of the 3 days is, I knocked a good shot up there, and he's like, we hit a good one there. We hit a very good shot there.
Yeah, we did.
And that's the truth, though. So let's talk about. It's going to be very, very, very easy to go to the negatives, right? It's going to be easy to say.
I'm going to ask you,
what's your putt here?
I'm going to ask you, what was your favorite moment? What was your best moment?
Best moment? Not hitting it out of bounds on number 1. that helped.
As a player or as a player or as a competitor or anything, like what was your most memorable moment?
The one that keeps coming back to me is the putt on 14 at Apple Greens. After hitting so many greens and couldn't get a putt to drop, to have what everybody says is the most ridiculous hole in the place. And by the way, somebody said that, and I don't know if it's legend or whatever, that the green was put in backwards, that they read the map wrong or the schematics of the thing. And instead of the green being like a dartboard, it's a Rodin. But it's a Rodin that goes all the way into the sand. It's a Rodin. It's a nightmare. And it's undulating and it's crazy. And there's no great place to put a pin.
Yeah.
But I hit it on the green, and you read the putt 6 different ways, and I stood over the putt, and you called me off, right? Which you did a couple of times during the round. Hey, back up a second. And I backed off, and you reread the putt, and you're like, no, I'm locked in. And when you were locked in, I was locked in. And finally made the first birdie of the tournament on hole 14 of day 2. And
after hitting 14 greens day 1, and at what, maybe up until 14, what, maybe 8 greens on day 2?
Up until 14, we hit 18, we hit 16, we didn't hit 15 because I'm dumb. We hit 16, we hit 15. So
subtract 4, subtract 3.
27. Yeah, we'd hit 23 greens. We had 23 birdie putts through 18 and 14 through 32 holes. And hadn't made one yet. And this is the most ridiculous triple breaker, up, down, uphill, through the valley to a pin that if you go 2 feet past is going to roll into a sand trap. And you read it perfect, and I jammed it in the back of the cup for the first.
Well, I think it was like a combination.
The most memorable.
I think the biggest thing, like our relationship this year, but on the bag was like, I knew your game a little bit more. Like I could tell when you were going up to a shot or a putt or anything where you weren't 100% committed. And then like it's my job to send you out, to war, confident. It's my job to make sure that you're walking up to that chip or that putt or whatever as confident as you can. And there was a couple of times when I could tell that you were like, no.
Yeah.
And I would say 75% of the time I called you back off of them. There were a couple of times when I was just like, go ahead.
So we're not going to go hole by hole. The weekend doesn't deserve it. To be a spoiler, out of, 60 participants and another, say, 30 that didn't qualify. So say there was 90 people. We came in tied for 10th, or depending on who you ask, tied for 8th. I look at it as tied for 10th.
Wait, but who said it's tied for 10th? Who said it's 8th?
Big Bird's like, we were tied for 8th. Oh, by the way, so it's me and Big Bird and Paul Larios.
Yeah, I guess it would be 10th because Oliver's 7th. So, I guess it would be 8th because Oliver's 7th. Right? So you guys are 8, 8, 8. So that would be 8, 9, 10. And then
the next people are
11.
Yeah. All right.
So, so I guess it's 8.
I saw Paul Larios on the course today, and I grabbed him. I was coming down 15. He was teeing off 8, and I grabbed him and I said, you, me, and Bird, 18-hole shootout to see who's really the 8th place finisher.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, I'm in, 100% I'm in. So, got to be a neutral course though, because that kid.
Is that going to be? Yeah. And then we'll have Trump and Biden behind you guys.
I love that the presidential debate degenerated into who can hit the ball farther.
Dude, because, I think honestly, we could do a skit like that.
If you get two old white guys debating anything and it doesn't degenerate into who can hit the ball farther, then there's a problem there. And they're really not elite.
Testosterone's too low.
White guys. So just a quick recap. Woodstock the first day is a par 70. Last year we had our troubles where I knocked the ball over Xena Highwoods Road and took a 7 to start and then a
over
bogey.
Xena High School. No.
Oh yeah, no, it was up by the buses. But I hit a good drive. I knocked it on the green, which was the story of the week. And then had a 6-foot putt that I left 2 feet short. And then what'd you say? You hit the 2-footer harder than you hit the 6-footer?
You definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah. So bottom line is I gave the greens way more respect than they deserved, and it botched me up the whole time. We never ended up making a birdie putt. I had 2 3-putts, and they were the only 2 putts I got to the hole. And I didn't get up and down the couple of times we missed. So a 76, So
think about that. That's exactly the math, right? The 4 greens that you didn't hit, you didn't get up and down. And then 2, 3 putts. So there's your 6.
Yeah.
That's it,
man.
So those aren't bad mistakes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not, like, you're not sitting there where, like, oh, well, I punched out from under this tree or I hit this crappy drive. It's like, dude, those are just literally just cleanups. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But here was the problem was twofold. One, where were we after day 1? We were like in 18th place.
We were down there. We were down there because a lot of people played well there. Like
there was 15 guys that were 2 or 3 strokes ahead of me.
So I remember we got there and like the first wave had already went through 9 holes. So they had all the 9-hole scores from the first wave, and nobody was really doing great. It was like 36 was low, and it's it's a par 35, 36. There's like 136, a bunch of 38s. Like, okay, so everybody's like, we'll be right in that mix. And then a couple people came back through with like some low 32s, 34s, and stuff like that on the back.
33. But when we made the turn, and I bogeyed the last hole to shoot 2 over 38, I'm like, I was kicking myself because I go, damn it. I go, that could have been a 30, or no, it was 37. I'm like, that could have been a 35. That could have been a 34 or 33. Let's pick it up on the back. And just a couple bogeys got away from us. We did endure a 2-hour rain delay. That was my first time ever being in a rain delay in a major tournament. It didn't help, but I don't think it hurt that bad either. It wasn't great, but everybody had to deal with it.
Yeah, everybody dealt with it. I think it kind of softened up the greens on the approaches.
Yep.
It definitely cooled it off for us, which was kind of nice.
Yeah. Yep.
So
here's my biggest gripe about day one is again, a couple of putts go, a couple up and downs get made, a 3-putt doesn't happen, and we're right in the mix battling for first place. But I go home that night and I put my score in, and you realize how easy that course is. Even though I'm a 2.9 index, my course handicap there is a 1. So that 76 is like 5 strokes over what I should be playing to. It's just like I said, that wasn't.
But what about if you hit that competitive button?
Still, I'm a 1.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So the next day we knew we had to go low, but we'd gone low at Apple Greens before, and again, nothing spectacular. A lot of greens in regulation, a lot of tap-in pars. Really didn't have any problem with it. And again, we finally made the 1 birdie. Coming down the stretch, I think we were 2 over or 3 over on the day, and going, okay, we're gonna post like a 73. If I can catch a birdie on the way in, maybe a 72. It's a par 71, and just again, the only thing that's memorable is stepping up on the 17, which is a very long par 3. I think it's 205 yards to the middle, but it's downhill. It's 2 clubs downhill.
Yeah.
And it's gigantic. It's huge. It's wide. The green's probably 3,000 square feet, and I think that was the first time where I showed a little fatigue and a little mental error because we picked 5-iron to hit down there, and I left it open and hit the cart path. But the cart paths at this course are like the size of like an interstate highway. For whatever reason, they're like twice the size of a regular cart path. And how many times do you think it hit the cart path?
It definitely hit the cart path at least 4 times, I would say.
Yeah.
So maybe a 5th time. But it just, dude, I mean, I will tell you this, because I could see it straight. The first 3 were like normal, like bing, bing, bing. And then that 4th one, it just went bing. And I was like, oh no.
So we ended up 70 yards past the pin, behind the 18th tee box, in the hazard, but playable.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, at that point, it would have been really easy to be like pissed off and frustrated. But all I was thinking in my head was, we hadn't made a double bogey yet. We didn't make a double bogey at Woodstock, and we hadn't made a double bogey at Apple Greens. And that was one of the goals, was to be double bogey free for the entire round. So all I'm thinking of is, how do we turn this into a 4? And we could speculate a little bit. I chose to hit it out of the hazard. I probably hit it 100 yards, so we had about 30 yards coming back in. I chipped it onto the green, missed the putt for 4, made 5, our first double bogey. In retrospect, though, you made a really good point.
I just asked. I wasn't saying, hey, like we should have did that. I was just thinking in my head, all right, if we took a drop there, 2 club lengths from the lateral hazard, so now we're hitting 3 on, make the putt or miss and still take a 5. Whatever. It's 6-1, half dozen the other.
It is.
I'm not mad about the decision. The only thing that would have pissed me off was if
left
you
it in the hazard, yeah.
Yeah, if you were like, hey, I got to go after this because I don't want to make a double bogey and try to like fade it, because I mean, you really couldn't take a swing at. I would have killed you.
No,
I would have probably spear tackled you into that hazard.
It was there was no way to get to the pin, and see, that's in retrospect. I go, which option gave me the better chance to make 4? And I think you're right. I think now that I think about it, and again, we're a week removed from it, and you can think about a lot of things with a week, but but
I think the problem is if we would have dropped, if we would have dropped over 2 club lengths, you would have been like up higher, and I think it would have been a lot more below your feet, to where it was a tougher shot. But who knows?
I don't know. I still think I think I could have hit a little sand wedge in there. Maybe got it a little tight. Bottom line though is we ended up with a double. First one of the tournament on the 35th hole. Now we had an interesting decision to make, because now we ended up with a short par 4. It's like 270 up this hill, bunkers. There's a lot of bad stuff up there.
Yeah.
But before the day started, you said that you get 2 vetoes and I get 2 vetoes. So if I make a decision, you can say, no, I veto that. I'm going with this one, and I got to listen. Well, neither one of us had invoked them all day until we got to 18. And I know you were talking a couple of different clubs, and I just grabbed the driver out of the bag. I didn't even look over my shoulder to see if you were going to veto it.
I liked your confidence. I liked it.
Crammed it up there, knocked it between the traps, a little short, chipped on, aggressively missed the putt in front of the waiting crowd.
Yeah, I wanted that putt to drop.
Yeah, made the slider coming back, but we turned out with a 75, so we went 76-75 to start the tournament. But that did at that point get us tied for 10th, I believe.
You were definitely up there.
Yeah, we made a move.
I was definitely feeling pretty happy about leaving there that day. Yeah. I mean, obviously we left a couple shots out there, but I was pretty happy how you ended up on that scoreboard.
So what's different, though, is that I think I was telling you, our good friend Miles had caddied for me there 2 years ago. And after that, we went to the bar. We got drunk as 2 people could be, went to the Hurley Mountain Inn, had steaks, and got more drunk. I went home. It was like cold shower, hot tub, Advil, Bengay.
Sitting on the floor in the shower crying.
Thinking about the double bogey. But the good news is it did get us in the 4th to last group. So, we weren't in the last or the penultimate group, but we were riding the wave and the crest of the crowds and things that were behind us. And by the way, thank you to Tom Stange, my brother-in-law, Jesse Kazikoff, to Maddie, to Jamie, to all the folks that came out and supported us, on the course while we were playing. So
and we had a bunch of people following along too on the score. We had the live Google scoring that a bunch of people were following along on too.
Yeah, and I was getting a bunch of text messages when Maddie didn't finish the scoring on day 2. They're like, "What happened? There's 2 holes left." It was like an hour after.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yep. So we went back to Wiltwick, back for some home cooking. But last year we were in a very similar position. Ended up shooting 83 and really taking ourselves out of the tournament with like a 13th place finish. The goal is to make sure that we shot another quality mid-70s round. In my head, I was saying, hey, it'd be cool to go 76, 75, 74 on the hardest course. But what if I could put in a real score? Although I will say, when Trevor came up to me, our local pro, and said, hey, a lot of birdies out there, you can still win this. In the back of my head, I'm 9 strokes out. It's going to take the course record to win this thing. That's and I go, well, we'll start making birdies and see what happens. You never know.
Yeah, and then you bogeyed the first hole.
So that was our first major disagreement. I hit it into the trap, into the fairway bunker, and I'd been in that bunker, in that space a bunch of times, and I
actually blocked that out of my brain already. I'm going to turn this light on real quick.
You're like in the witness protection program there. I know you're Italian. Did you move from Staten Island to an undisclosed location in Saugerties? But
yeah, so I kind of blocked that out of my mind.
And you're like, I'm like 7-iron. You're like, isn't that too little to catch the lip? And I'm like, no, I've been in this trap a dozen times. I hit 7-iron. I can't quite reach the green, but it leaves me with a nice little up and down. And you're like, dude, why don't you? And I'm like, no. I'm like, it's good. And I thinned this thing right into the lip. And it popped out, probably went 50 yards, left me with a 100-yard shot, which is where one of our competitors' drive was. So now I'm driver 7-iron to where his drive was. And I knew you were seething. First hole.
No, so let me ask you this. We'll talk about this now so that we don't have to bring it up next year. What the heck's the point, dude? What's the point? Just make sure you get it out of there first, right? Now, let's talk just had a softball tournament with my daughter, but if, you coach your son and playing baseball, there's a man on first, right? Mm-hmm. Grounder comes to you. What is the thing you tell him, right? You obviously you want to turn 2, but you have to make sure you get the out first. Play the ball first, right? All I wanted you to do is make sure it was out. I don't care if it went. I don't care if you hit a 50-yard real shot instead of hitting a sculled 7-iron that hits the lip and goes 50 yards. I'd much rather just a 50-yard shot. You know what I mean? You already knew you weren't going to get up there. You already said it. You're like, this is not going to get there. So then, all right, so let's hit a 9-iron that goes 125. And we know it definitely gets out, you know? What if a chunky 9-iron goes 100 yards, you know what I mean? You're still up there 50 yards out.
Yep. Instead of where we're at. The only thing is I'd hit that shot a lot, and I was real confident over it. The only thing I didn't take into consideration is I was on the upslope of the bunker, and when I swung, I didn't get my weight through the ball, and I fell back a little bit, and I caught it thin, and that thin shot just wasn't even going to it hit into the face of the lip and trickled out. And like I said, I walked it out, and I'm like, you had to rake and bring the stuff up, and it was still our shot. And I go, like,
I know. I was like, crap. I had to go get the rake, rake it out. Yeah,
like
whatever.
a true champion, we bounced back. We birdied the par 5-2. We birdied number 3.
Yeah.
And then immediately bogeyed number 4. So we'd played 4 holes. I was even par with no pars.
Yep. And I felt good, dude. I felt you were feeling good, and I felt good. I felt like, hey, you know what? Let's just keep grinding. I'm okay with a grinding 74. So
we go into number 9, 2 over, right? And hit a good drive. We decided not to go full bore on and try and make the green. We know a big number can come out of that, but laid up. But then I chipped it to, like, this was another big problem, was every time I brought out the 54-degree wedge to chip, I'd chip it past the pin 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet. I couldn't get the wedge dialed in. So I did. I had like a 12-footer downhill braking for a 38 on the front. And with another good read from Mike, was fortunate enough to put in that birdie for 38.
Yeah, we got to work on your fist bumps, though.
Dude,
definitely got to work on your fist bumps.
My shoulder hurts because I was like,
I will tell you this, dude. We might have to take a look at that 54-degree and maybe sharpen those grooves or something like that.
It just wasn't sitting, dude. I was hitting it just the way I wanted to, and with the exception of the one chunk, it was just every course we were at was just weight. Now, I think there was some adrenaline going on, obviously. There was some other, like I said, it wasn't and we hit so many greens that there wasn't a lot of time to get into a chipping rhythm, thank God. But I don't remember getting up and down once in 54 holes, which is very disappointing.
Well, you did on 9.
But on 9, only because of a great putt. But then really the rest of the round was pretty innocuous, with the exception of the debacle on 13.
So now, 13, let's not go over it. I don't want to go over it. We're going to do a whole nother video of it. That's going to be our Tuesday talk.
Podcast on the 13th hole.
Nope, just a Tuesday talk of the 13th hole on what we need to do there. And obviously, we still can't figure out what we need to do. I think that's going to be a practice. I think that's something that we're going to have to work on.
So on the 13th hole today, you'll be proud to know that the pin was not in a dissimilar location. The greens were probably running at a 7 or an 8 as opposed to a 12 or a 13. And I learned my lesson because I left it 20 yards left and deep of the pin. So it was. I'm not even flirting with the pin. I'm nowhere near the front of that green. I'm never going
What'd you do?
Again.
Did you 2-putt?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's on a 7
back up the hill.
Yeah, but that's not. Oh, really? Because that's even with slow greens, huh?
Yeah. Yep. They were. We were playing a different format today, and birdies were important, and I rammed it past there. But like I said, here's the thing is, and so we won't get into it now, but. If it's been a very, very, very long time since I ran into a situation that I didn't have a shot for, where you were like, you handed me a putter, you handed me a 54, you handed me a 60, you handed me a wedge, and every single one of them I handed back to you like, no. I was like, dude, in Bull Durham when Nuke Lelouch is shaking off, the catcher, and he's like, no, I want to bring. I'm like, dude, I had no idea. This is one of those times where finally you're like, just hit the wedge. And I was like, thank God he picked something, because whatever I picked, I know was going to be wrong.
Well, you should have just let me hit it. I would have putted it. I personally would have putted that.
In retrospect, the only move there was putting it. It was in the rough. Yeah. Again, we're not going to get into it now. But
we'll show it on the full video.
Yeah. It was our second double bogey, and it kind of took us out of it, of the tournament. But we finished with a 78, a 40, 38-40. Not great. Didn't feel good. There was two. Now, the problem was again, we were tied for 8th, but there was the guys in front of us were only 1 or 2 or 3 strokes ahead of us. Even the kid who won, and congratulations to Ben Fox. Yeah. Even he won it with a 75. So, you go back to a couple of 3 putts. You go back to a couple of up and downs. You go back to, the rub of the green with the 5-iron hitting the cart path. You go to, just, again, you're only 3 or 4 shots. It wasn't even. It was 3 shots away from a top 5 finish, and would end up being 11 shots out of winning. But over 3 days, you could pick each one of those.
Oh, you can easily.
If I didn't do this, if I didn't do that.
But we can all do that, dude. We can all do that. Yeah. I think one of my favorite moments. You didn't ask me, by the way. One of my favorite moments was standing on 4 at Woodstock.
Mike.
No, it's too late. It's too late.
What was your favorite?
No, number 4 at Woodstock. We were standing over the ball, and you had an 8-iron in your hand. Maybe you had a 9-iron, and I think I told you to step off and gave you an 8, or maybe vice versa. I can't remember, but I was like, I was kind of feeling that went around, and it was good.
We had 145, and I had a 9-iron, which is a lot, but at number 4 is don't go long, right? And the wind was at our back, but as I approached the ball and I was standing over the ball, and you got 15, 20 seconds before I'm going to pull the trigger on that. Mike goes, step off. And I did, and the wind has changed, and it was a little in our face, and he gave me the 8-iron, and I hit the most beautiful little shot to 6 or 8 feet, whatever the closest was that I could possibly miss from. But that was such a good call. And it was in the moment. It was the right call, and I don't think there's one caddy out there that has the guts to call their player off, right? To put one more club in their hand, and then actually have them execute it to where it turns into a better shot than the one they would have had. I think you're the only person that could do that.
I think, again, knowing your game, I know that, I know when I gave you that 9 that. I don't know if it was said, but it was like, hey, this is a full 9, like a hard 9.
Yeah.
I don't like that for you. Like, I just, I mean, not in competition. If it was like me and you versus, Jimmy Wawa and them, I'd be like, yo, step on this and crush it. That's fine. But in competition, I don't like you hitting that hard shot as opposed to like a smooth 8.
Yeah, when it's 145, I'm hitting my 125 club, but it's 120 carry water. I know we're not trying to go long, but that pond is intimidating when you got to carry the entire thing. Yeah.
So no, I
but
like
Mike,
that.
Great. Yeah, but great job. I mean, we really have something to look forward to next year. But your point is extraordinarily well taken. 2 things. Number 1 is got to aim for the win. If we don't aim for the win, we're not going to get anything. And number 2 is we got to find some harder competition than the Herdegen. We got to try and qualify for the U.S. Open. We got to try and break into the Mid-Am. We got to do the Northeast Mini Tour. Something where it's going to be tough.
I also want you to kind of expand your game a little bit to where I want to see how you can play on a course you've never played before.
Yeah.
Yep. That's really what I want to do. I want to see how you do on a course that, listen, we don't even know where the next tee box is, let alone read in these greens. We're actually going to have to read these greens and read the grain and, all those things. And, I'm going to have a yardage book and, write notes and stuff. I want to see how we do together on something like that. I think it would be really cool.
I love it. Bethpage, U.S. Open qualifier. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Listen, it's already been a long podcast, and again, this was not the total purpose. Really, the big thing is that for years now, and again, we haven't been at this a long time, but every mentor or consultant that we've ever bumped into that we talk about our channel, they said, what's the purpose of the channel? What's your niche? And we keep saying golf. And they're like, that's not narrow enough. And then we always say, well, there's not a thing about tennis or pickleball anywhere on here. It's only about golf. And they said, but specifically, what is it? And we're seeing a lot of traction from our golf etiquette series that you started. It started with Slow Play Steve, and, and now you're helping the golf universe demystify the nuance that is golf etiquette. So
and that's something I really want to touch base on. Listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to end this podcast here, and then I'm going to do a part 2. We're going to do it again. We're just going to keep rolling into the next video. I'll put 2 out. I'm going to put 2 out tomorrow, and
30 and 31, 30 and 30A and 30B.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do that. Because I have something up on my computer right now. I really want to talk about it, and I don't want to go like a full hour, So we'll do 2 half hours. It was a funny thing that Netflix does. It's like, hey, you want to watch this 10-hour movie? No, I can't do that. How about this 10-hour movie, but if I break it up to 10 1-hour episodes? Oh, I could definitely do that.
I'll start it at 2 in the afternoon. I'll be done by midnight. No big deal.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So let's end episode 30A, right? And shout out to our sponsors, Shaft Wraps, Sundog Sunglasses, Ball Hawker. Really appreciate you guys. Monster Energy.
And, hey, we got a contest coming out soon to a chance to win $99 worth of minimum $99 worth of Sundogs, plus this really cool sunglasses case that's like a driver case. So that's going to be coming out soon as well.
I'd rock that Sundog head cover all day. And it is a glasses case, but I think I'd stick it right on top of my 3-wood. Exactly.
I think I might do that too.
All right.
All right.
So ending 30A. On your way. If you can just click right over to 30B if you want to keep rolling. If not, take a breath, take your time, and we'll see you back here when you get a chance. But I'm Adam.
I'm Mike. Just the tips.
Just the tips.
Just the tips.